She was around the McMahon household as you're over there booking and working in Vince's dining room and out by the pool. She's a constant there, is she not?
Yeah, pretty much. You got the kids after school, at least on her part. She was always around, and then went to college, went to Boston, but she would always come back. Not every weekend, but at least once a month she would come back. But she was always around and always worked the summers in the office, whether it was in marketing as an intern or the TV studio as an assistant, whatever it was, she was just a constant.
Any fun Stephanie McMahon stories as a Ute?
Is a Ute. God, I think that the funniest one that she used to tell was when she graduated from high school. We all got invited to her graduation party, dinner, or whatever the hell it was, because Pat and I had to go to everything. And we got there, and we had been working all week, and I didn't know what do you get an 18-year-old girl that has everything for graduation. So I deferred to Louis Dondero, who was Pat Patterson's significant other. And Louis was going to go and get her something for the party. And I said, Louis, would you mind getting something for me to give her? And he said, sure, don't worry about it. So he gets it all wrapped and has a card and everything for me. And I give it to her. And I forgot to ask, what did I get her? He said, I got. So she opens it and she looks at it. She goes, oh, wow, this is just beautiful, Bruce. Thank you so much. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the hell is it? And it was an ankle bracelet. And I'm like, that just sounds kind of creepy to me. And sure enough, she said to me later, she goes, I don't know. She goes, this very sweet gift, but it's kind of weird coming from Uncle Bruce, this ankle bracelet. Well, confession time. I said, I had Louis get it. She goes, okay, that makes more sense. So she felt better once she knew Louis picked it out for her and everything. But Vince and I, man, when she was in high school, we used to go to her high school basketball games, and we would sit in the stands in the bleachers with our books, and we would book and write TV and stuff until Stephanie got on the court and played. And then we'd look up and watch her play and then go back to working.
And that's where you guys came up with ideas like Shinja and Duke, the dumpster Drose, and Teal Hopper, right?
No. We came up better shit than that, I'm sure.
Knuckleball Schwartz.
Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
I'm sure that was thought of at a fucking sporting event.
Well,
what type of a sports dad was Vince McMahon? I feel like he's having a meltdown on the sidelines.
No, he was one of those that was very reserved, and he would watch and he would quietly cheer her on, but he wasn't what you would expect. Come on, Stephanie, get in there. God damn it. Nail her. Get that bitch. Hey, ref, that's a fucking foul. No, he was much more reserved than that. He just got to say it under his breath. That was a goddamn foul. She ought to fucking foul that bitch. Elbow her in the titty. Oh, God. What?
Oh, my gosh. What was he?
Get aggressive, damn it.
Did he understand basketball?
More than I did. I don't, but they bounced the ball around. They threw it in the circle on the board at the end of the court.
I just know you don't know shit about real sports. And, he famously, and we talked about this in the archives, his favorite football players were Wahoo McDaniel and Ernie Ladd, which is just hysterical to me. So let's talk about when she starts working with the company full time. After graduation, does she start sitting in on meetings, or how does Vince introduce her into the fold? What are her roles? What do you remember about her coming up there? And were you a little nervous about there being another McMahon there? And we know how that story ends. Chat me up.
Well, during this time, I was a lot more on the talent relation end of things, and I wasn't doing as much creative. I definitely remember though, Stephanie coming in and Vince having her sit in on creative and try to learn every aspect of the business. And contrary to popular belief, from my knowledge, the first person to suggest Stephanie being on camera was goddamn Jim Cornette. He said, what the fuck is this goddamn big titty Demi Moore looking fucking bitch doing walking around the goddamn house? We don't have her on camera. And Cornette thought that she would be perfect and thought she was, she was good looking. Put her ass on TV. She's a McMahon. Exploit the name. And so it was Jim Cornette the first time I ever heard it. And I said, man, that's going to be one you're going to have to get past the old man and the salted in the shell Shane.
Salted in the shell?
We're just a traveling nut house. Vince is the head cashew, and Bobby Heenan used to refer to Shane as salted in the shell.
Wow. So she's in and working in the backstage area. What's a typical day like with Stephanie when she's first there? Is she working more with a certain section of the show?
No, she would have a headset on. She was learning production. So she was shadowing Vince, and she was sitting in on whatever meetings there were, whether they be creative production meetings, and trying to learn everything that she could about television and about the creative process. But she was like a fly on the wall. She's very, very quiet and didn't say a whole lot, man. She just sat there, listened, and took a lot of notes. Now, after the fact, after the meetings, a lot of times she would take us off to the side and ask us questions about what took place in the meeting. Why did you say this? Why'd you do that? And different things like that.
Give me an example.
Well, I guess talking about we're going to bring Steve in, but his character wouldn't do that, and just leave it like that. She would then come back and ask, why wouldn't his character do that? And she would want explanation for each and every decision. If you said, well, like, especially Cornette, goddamn, he's a heel. A heel wouldn't do that. She'd want to know why a heel wouldn't do that.
So she was interested in learning the psychology of wrestling.
Yes. And sometimes it's not as easy to explain. It's just a feel. And I think that kind of frustrated her sometimes as well. But she was just very inquisitive and always asking questions.